I swear to God, bro, just stop trying to speed up the process. Now, us young people, myself included, because I'm still 17, right? As if it was hard to tell. We love to chase quick results. The fastest way to gain muscle in 2024, fucking the next big exploit to doing that thing, the fastest method, blah, blah, blah. Like, shut the fuck up. Please, bro. Like, when you try to rush the process of certain things, you're just gonna end up doing yourself more harm in the long term. And I don't mean harm in physical realm, although that could happen. What I mean is that you might actually end up getting further away from achieving that thing, rather actually getting closer to it. And I'm gonna tell you a couple of stories to back that up. Starting off with last year in 2023, as if I remember right, it was September. I wanted to increase my bench max at the gym because at the time I was pretty skinny, right? I know I'm not the biggest guy, of course, but like I wanted to increase my bench press because at the time I was like 60 kilograms, and I remember I wanted to bench 80 by the end of the year. So I had 4 months to go from 60 to 80 kilograms. That's a 20 kilogram difference, right? And what do you think happened? Well, because my goal setting was shit, all I could think about was like weightlifting, bench press, and all I could really think about was lifting weights, right? So when the judgment day came around, even though everything was going great, what do you think my bench press ended up being? What do you think was the bench max, my PR, that's the word. What do you think was my PR? Was it 80? You would be wrong, because my bench PR ended up being 75 kilograms. I was this close to achieving it. I swear to God, I was pissed at that point in time, right? I really wanted to get it. And the best part, I ended up benching 80 kilograms 4 months later because I didn't take things at my own pace. And I'm gonna tell you another story to back that up, because the amount of times this occurred in my life, it's fucking crazy, right? But around June this year, the beginning of summer, right? The beginning of the summer break is when I wanted to learn how to backflip. This was the moment when I set the challenge that I will land a backflip before summer ends. So September 1st for me, right? And all I could think about was, well, backflipping. I pretty much put off most of my self-improvement habits at that point in time. I'm being dead ass straight. I sacrificed lifting weights. I stopped meditating. I cut down my morning routines to as short as possible, just so that the first thing I can do is wake up, go outside, find a sand pit where if I fall, I'm not gonna get hurt, right? And I would just whoop. Bro, I'm feeling so goofy today, right? But yeah, essentially, do you think I achieved it? Now, obsession is the right way to go about it, right? I feel like if you're gonna sacrifice all the other things and just prioritize one goal, you're definitely gonna get it. However, the issue here was that I was chasing quick, fast ways to do it. I would change the YouTube tutorial I would use for the backflip like once every 2 days just because the one didn't work. And that didn't really build consistency. So by the end of summer, when the judgment day came around, the last weekend, the last 2 days before summer ends, I didn't get it. I was this fucking close. I was sitting outside for hours, literal hours on end without a break, just so that I can hopefully land it. And I didn't. My biggest fear at that time was not actually flipping backwards. I got over that very quickly, but it was actually not using my arms for landing, right? So the first time when you do it, you want to put your arms on the ground, and you want to do less and less over time. I was like barely scratching the ground with my arm. It was like, let's say this is the ground, right? I was literally slapping the ground. I wasn't even using my arm to, assist myself. Yet the fear was still there. Because I tried to do things as fast as possible, I ended up building bad habits over time, and that ended up fucking up my progress. So I really feel like this phenomenon of trying to force things, trying to chase the quick results, that actually affects us really much. I don't know if that sentence makes sense, but I hope it does, right? Yeah, this phenomenon, I started the sentence with the exact same word. Fuck, okay, let's get back on track. Essentially, that fucked up a lot of things. And I really feel like this occurrence happens a lot throughout our life. And it really reminds me of that one situation, I guess you could call it, that I think happened to a lot of us, right? Now, I don't have siblings. Before I make that statement, what the fuck's wrong with me? Before I make that statement, I just want to let you know that I don't have siblings. All I have was younger cousins. So if you have a younger sibling, you're going to especially relate to this, right? You know that feeling when you're sitting in your room doing something, perhaps you're sitting on your computer or whatever, and your little cousin or brother walks into your room and he starts asking you for something. Now, he wants to borrow something, right? Maybe it's your earplugs, maybe it's your headphones, maybe it's your Xbox controller. Would you rather give it to him if he walked up and he asked in like a nice, chill way, almost as if he didn't care himself? Imagine this, he walks into your room and he's like, yo, can I borrow your Xbox controller? That's it. You probably wouldn't care either, right? So you would grab the controller, give it to him. Good. Problem solved. But now, imagine if he walked in with like this dickhead energy. You know how stubborn little kids can be, right? Where they walk in, they're like, oh, pissed and stuff. They start like stomping the ground when they get upset. And he walks in and he's like, give me that controller right now, or else I'll scream and call your parents. Like, bitch, get the fuck out of my room. I'm not talking to you. I feel like this is just how our world operates. The more we try to force things to happen, the further away we kind of get from it. You know, it's almost like a rubber band. The further we try to get ahead, the more we try to use those like shortcuts, the more we snap back. And another great example of this is it's girls. You remember that feeling? Now, I can relate to this especially a lot, right? But you remember that feeling when you wanted to get with a girl? Maybe there was a girl that you particularly liked, and what would you do back then? At least what I used to do, which nowadays I'm really ashamed of, I would just text her every single fucking day, you know? If I didn't have anything to talk about, just blast her memes on my Snapchat. And I would hope that one day some magical event would happen and that suddenly we're all together, right? What do you think happened? Because for me, at least for me, right? I'm pretty sure it happened for you as well. That ended up repulsing her even further. But why? Why? I mean, I was texting her every single day. You know, I was trying so hard. Before you even know it, she thinks of you as a weirdo. She tells all of your friends that you're a weirdo, and now your reputation in school is fucked up. At least that's kind of what happened for me, right? But that's a topic for another day. I'm not saying here that you shouldn't set goals and achieve them. The issue for me is that I was setting pretty much unrealistic goals that seemed normal, yet they ended up being completely out of my reach. That's it. Yeah, if you're gonna set goals, do it right. Don't do it like me. I wanted to learn how to backflip in 2 months. That was as if I walked into the gym and I tried to bench press 225 on my first day. That ain't happening. When you try to force things that you are clearly not ready for, they're not gonna happen. There's a very, very small chance of them happening. And when you walk in with this rather chill mindset, that's a good way to call it, where you almost care less. It's like you still want to achieve that thing, but you're not forcing it. I keep using the word force because I don't have a good synonym for it, but that's pretty much what you're doing here, right? That's as if you walked into the gym and you wanted to have an aesthetic physique within 3 months. That ain't happening. That's just not happening. And I'm gonna tell you a funny story, a side quest, I guess you could call it, towards the story from the backflip, right? Because as I was learning the backflip, when I came back home, I wanted to do something in my free time, something to fulfill my boredom. So I looked up a juggling tutorial. You know how guys fucking throw balls around trying to learn it? I didn't really care about it that much because, well, the main goal at the end of the day was the backflip, right? That was something that I'll do to fill up my free time that I used to have. And when I didn't get the backflip, I kind of forgot about juggling as well, all the way until 2 days ago, which is when I found those 2 balls in my in this shelf over here. And I thought to myself, you know what? I wonder if I can still juggle. I wonder if I can do it. And at that time, you know, at the time when I was still learning backflip, I couldn't really do it. I was kind of bad at it. So as I was sitting in my room, you know, I made this 3rd ball with my fucking socks. And as I was sitting in my room, I quickly realized that this shit is... Okay, I kind of fucked it up, but don't worry, I'm not gonna cut that part out. I'm an authentic YouTuber, right? But this shit became 20 times easier for me. Now I can actually do it, you know? And yeah, I didn't give a fuck about it in the slightest. The moment I've learned it, I was like, ooh, I can juggle. I know I kind of fucked it up, but I'll put up a clip of me actually doing it on camera so you have an actual proof that I can do it, right? And that's when I realized the more we appreciate the small things, the more the bigger things are gonna impact our lives. See, we like to set high expectations for ourselves. That's a very normal trait I think we're all aware of, right? I think that's something we're all familiar with, right? But when you actually appreciate the small things, that's when the big things start to that's when the gratification you get from the big things, it fucking multiplies, right? At least from my experience, right? Now, this video is probably really fucking long, so I'm just gonna end this at this one more lesson that I've learned recently. Because I was focusing on the bags, I was kind of slacking on YouTube, right? You can probably see that the view counts have been dropping slightly, the sub count is still increasing, but yeah, overall, the views were kind of dropping, the upload schedule was dropping, yada, 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 right? However, recently, as I back to consistent uploading, Mondays and Fridays, by the way, I was just sitting in my room and I wanted to check YouTube analytics, and I've noticed that one video that was doing average amount of views suddenly increased. You know, yesterday it was at 50 views, and the moment I wake up, suddenly it's at 150. So that means something must have happened. So I click on the video, I go into the analytics, and there was a slight bump at the end. Yeah, I can't express to you the happiness I felt in that moment. It's like the view count was like this. The graph was like slow, 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 pretty much flat, right? But right at the end of it, a slight, very, very tiny bump that happened overnight, right? At this point, I don't think I was this happy about YouTube since the day I blew up. Since the day I had that video that got to 500,000, right? I felt almost similar happiness in that period of time just because I saw this small little bump. You know what's the best part? That video stagnated at 300 views, but just because I saw this tiny graph, I was walking around with this giant fucking smile throughout the rest of the day. And that's also when I realized that the more we appreciate the small things, the more the big things will have an impact, right? So I really want you to correlate this mindset with the thing that I've been talking about for the rest of the video, right? Which is to not fuck up your expectations and actually know what you're chasing after. Don't try to force things. Just, if you were to summarize this whole video to one sentence, don't try to force things. That's probably the best advice I can give you in this video. But yeah, hopefully what the fuck? Hopefully you learned something valuable today. If you want to talk to me directly, we're also hanging out an amazing community of like-minded people who all share the same interests, all share the same values. You've never, I'm gonna shake my hand on this. I say this in every single video, but that's just the downright truth. This is the best fucking community on the entire internet, and I'll promote it to you in every single one of my videos because you have to find out. You've never seen shit like this. Our voice calls get so fucking funny and wacky while still learning things. It's not like we're wasting our time. We're actually still learning stuff that's valuable. It's insane. It's genuinely what's the word? Unreplaceable experience. You won't find it anywhere else. So yeah, if you want to miss out on that, leave the video. If not, click all the buttons if you want. So I'm not going to force you to do anything. Do what everything is right. And I will not waste any of your time anymore. Keep working, brother, and take care. I missed the fucking camera. What the fuck?